Okay, the Lumix S1II came out 4 weeks ago. I had the honor, the privilege to take this overseas with me. 3 weeks in Sri Lanka I got to shoot with this thing and got to understand a couple of its nuances, a couple of the handy things about it. Of course, it comes with Lumix's array of very handy and accessible video features. It also takes a pretty good photo as well, although Adobe still needs to come out with the RAW update, so pending that. At this stage I've just been shooting on HEF, which has actually been okay. If you want to look at some of those photos and if you want to look at my journey and some of the footage that I shot with this in Sri Lanka, click the video above. Surely I can put a video up here somewhere. Here. I'm going to put a video somewhere around here, and if you want to have a look at the shots that I got with this in both video and photography format, I highly suggest clicking on that video. It's a very cool video, I'm very proud of it, and yeah, it's just a great showcase of Sri Lanka as a country. So if you've got some extra time after this video, jump into that video and learn all about how great the S1II takes a photo and how beautiful that raw footage is. Now I want to talk about 6 features that you could cop or drop, smash or pass, useless or useful. Let's go, let's make a list of the Lumix S1II's most useful and useless features that it comes with. Starting with number 1, let's talk about focus hold. Focus hold is a feature on here that isn't necessarily in the menus, but kind of comes with the lens and the toggle button here. Let me explain. Now this was a little bit of feedback that came through over the last couple of years within some of these Lumix groups that I'm a part of, and one of the pieces of feedback was when you've set your camera to autofocus and you want a moment to set it back to manual focus, when you set it to manual focus, it just goes blurry, like it doesn't hold the position that the autofocus, didn't hold the focus that the autofocus picked up on when you set it to manual. Really, really annoying, because all you want to do sometimes, if you've racked an autofocus and you just want to like change it to manual just to make a slight adjustment for whatever reason that might be, whenever you like change it to manual, it used to always just like default back to some random focus point that wasn't the focus point that the autofocus racked to. Man, does that make sense? That makes sense. I found a workaround on the S1II. I'm actually yet to test it on, should we test it now? I'll test it on the S5II as well. Let's have a look. S5II, all right, S5II. Let's test it on this too. Need a battery. Okay, we're back. Let's test this setting out. Let's see if it actually like works. See if my workaround works. And it's with, so I've been using this. So this is the 24-70 f2.8, great lens. I've also been using the 24-60, which is a brand new lens that they've just come out with. Fucking awesome. I think the trade-off with having a lens that's like 500 grams less in weight, especially when traveling, the trade-off of that extra 10 mils of reach, it's like so worth it. Like I barely noticed not having 70 mils versus 60 mils on this, but what I did notice was how much less it weighed in my backpack. Let me explain first before we jump into some of the tests. So what I figured out is that if you're using a lens that you can manually turn focus off and on with, I figured out that if you have it set to autofocus, you've got it set to autofocus, and you actually, so you've got it set to autofocus, you get your focus, and you actually switch it into manual focus using the toggle, it will stay focused on where your autofocus point was. So I really enjoyed that, and I figured that out with the S1II. So now I'm gonna just test that on the S5 Mark II and see if it's also the same situation. So if you look at this, you get an autofocus point, autofocus point, and then yeah, when you change this to manual focus using the lens, boom, it goes blurry, So let's go back to autofocus. There we go. Now, if you change autofocus using the manual focus toggle on the camera, it does, it stays. Look at that. So there's a workaround. So if you are at a point where you're filming something and you racked autofocus and you want to change it to manual focus to make a slight adjustment, use the toggle on the back. Don't use the lens. Use the toggle on the back, it'll keep your focus, and yeah, away you go. Feature number 1. So what do we reckon? Useless or useful? Kind of useful. Still kind of useless that it does what it does on the lens and there's no way to change it, but very useful if you do it this way. Be awesome if they did an update to some of the lenses that it kept where the focus point was from autofocus. Maybe we'll see that in the future. Right, feature number 2, eye sensor AF. So you can find eye sensor AF under the wee cog. You scroll down a bit, eye sensor AF. Now I've got it off because it's kind of useless to me. But what eye sensor AF does is, before you put it up to your eye, it's already, whoa, what is that red for? Why is it randomly red? I must have fucked with some setting that's now made my viewfinder like totally red. Oh, I think I know what I did here. Night mode. Yo, the LVF on. Yeah, night mode. Live viewfinder, I've turned it on. Now it's off. And now it's no longer red. Okay, thank God for that. I thought I broke the camera. Eye sensor AF. So eye sensor AF, what it does is that when it senses, you'll kind of bring it up to your eye. It'll pull an autofocus to wherever you are. So it's already in focus before your eye gets to it. That's the whole theory anyway, is that it will rack a focus automatically when you put your eye up to it. So, yeah, maybe, like a little bit. What if I looked at this light? Seems to be. Well, looks exactly the same. In terms of like the autofocus response, it hasn't made any difference at all. So even if it did work, I still don't see too much of what the use would be for it. Like, considering like most people that would buy this camera would just use the viewfinder and the screen, like, yeah, I don't know. Useless or useful? I reckon useless. +1 for useless. Okay, setting number 3, focus ring during manual focus. So this setting allows you to set how much it takes for you to throw the focus pull on your lens. So how many turns is it going to take in order to get you to your focus point? You can set it to 90 degrees, you can set it to 360 degrees, 1 whole turn, you can set it to 1080 degrees, which is 3 whole turns, whatever it is. Yeah, it's really easy to adjust. You just jump into like the cog, scroll down to the lens, which is right at the bottom, and then you've got focus ring setting during manual focus. Focus ring control, you've got non-linear, linear, and set. So non-linear means it just kind of does it automatically. Then linear is kind of what you set it to. So focus responds according to rotation angle of the focus ring. So you got to set your angle. So here you got settings, your 90, your 120, 150, 180, 210. I've got mine set to 90, which I think is a really nice sweet spot between videography and photography. Focus ring setting during manual focus. Useless, useful. Okay, and that's +1 to useful. Setting number 4, live view composite mode. You can find this one under, photos, others, live view composite. So, live view composite. So this allows you to essentially, set the shutter speed and ISO sensitivity before pressing the shutter button. Essentially you can just kind of like, it's really weird that you can't adjust your shutter speed for it. I think that's the one thing that's really weird. Either I'm missing something here or I don't know, it's just locked at like a 1.6 shutter speed, but I guess I can like take a photo. It just takes like lots of photos and then you just push it again. Yeah, I guess if you wanted to like, yeah, it's a really like just artistic kind of technique, I guess. I think it'll have its uses, but finding use for it, I guess it's abstract. It creates abstract photography. It's quite like a weird and wacky feature to overlay a bunch of things. I can imagine maybe a bit of astro. You might be able to set this up for astro. Like you can dial that shutter speed all the way to 20 seconds. So like if you want to get some of those like star trails, you could probably, and you just put it on a tripod and just let it go. It's probably a really good like astrophotography setting. Useless, useful, probably pretty useful. I think probably pretty useful. It's another one for useful. Number 5 is bracketing mode. Bracketing mode is something I've only just learned recently. So you can find bracketing mode under photos, others, and then bracketing. And what's cool about this is you can set either an exposure bracketing, or you can set a focus bracketing. So if you want to set a focus, I think the most useful thing here would be the focus bracketing. So what the focus bracketing would allow you to do is essentially, it would take images slightly before your focus point and slightly after your focus point and give you a way bigger focus on a subject. So I anticipate this being particularly useful for, say, macro photography or shooting like studio photography where you need lots of the subject in focus. So if you're shooting like a car and it's quite big, it's quite like big in like a studio setting, and with our lenses sometimes it's hard to get a really sharp depth of field, so for like commercial use. So I think for both commercial use but mostly for macro photography, I think this bracketing feature could be really, really handy. I reckon that's another one for team useful. Another one for team useful. Okay, so for feature number 6, this is more of a video feature and it's called live cropping. What is live cropping? Well, for a start, it can be found under the second video mode and then under others. And then you'll see there live cropping. And then you can set it, you can set the cropping start and end frame, you can set the duration of it, you can set the ease in and ease out of it. So essentially what it does is you can set your camera up onto a tripod and then you can tell it to like basically pan from left to right using the whole sensor. So I guess it'll read out at like a 5K or 6K open gate file, and then it will apply the live cropping to give you some movement. Yeah, kind of random, right? Like, I guess uses for this would be if you wanted to film yourself, you're out and about and you want to film yourself, a bit of a panning shot, you'd have to really sort of like, if you're setting it for like 20 seconds from here to here, you got to make sure that, you know, you're all timed up perfectly, because you can't be looking at the viewfinder the whole time or whatever. So it probably takes a little bit of coordination. But like, it's kind of like, it could be kind of useful. Basically, it's just like an in-camera slider. It's like an in-camera slider. Like, I guess that has its uses, but why would I use that when I could just film at 6K open gate and then just apply that exact same effect in post-production? I don't know, like maybe if you wanted to like send that, maybe if you were doing like an MP4 Lite and you wanted to send it to your phone and you wanted that movement straight away, so you could just upload through the Lumix Lab app and just upload straight to socials, maybe that would be a use by case. But I feel like most people that are buying this for its video features are probably proficient in some sort of editing software like Premiere Pro or DaVinci, which will just give you that ability to create that effect. So yeah, to be fair, I don't know, live cropping for video, useless, useful. I reckon it's a bit useless. Number 7. Here's one of the most useless effects I reckon that still exists within these Lumix cameras, and they need to just take it off. It's been on there since the GH4, GH5 and all the cameras up until this point, and I just don't reckon anybody used them. Like, if people are buying this camera, they're not going to be using these filter settings. So if you go into camera and you go under image quality number 3, you got filter settings there, and you got filter effects, and let's say you set them. You got this expressive, you got these weird jelly beans, and then you've got retro, old days, high key, low key, sepia, cross process, bleach bypass. Nobody's going to use these. Nobody's going to use these because you can now go into the Lumix Lab app, you can download a LUT and you can get something that's 39 times better than whatever's presented with this. But these are the same weird filters that have come with the camera for like 10 years now. And I just don't think they need to be there. It surprises me that they are still there. Maybe we should do a whole video just filming with these weird filters. Maybe there's something in that. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, that's going straight into the useless pile. So that's another one for useless. We've actually got quite a wee collection here. So hopefully you've learned something today. I certainly have, just making this video, going through some of these weird features. I think I've really enjoyed getting into the depths, into the weeds of some of the weird, wacky and wonderful features that come with the S1II. It's a great camera. A lot more to come on this camera. I'm very excited to share more around what I think about this. Hanging out for the update to be able to edit photos in Lightroom. That's the next big thing that needs to happen, as Adobe needs to come out with their Camera Raw update, but we'll see when that comes out. But until then, please do go have a look at the Sri Lanka photography video. I'm really, really proud of that edit, and it's just an awesome experience being over there, getting to put this camera through its uses, understand what it can do, what it can't do, shoot a little bit of vlog in 4K, shoot some photos with it, and yeah, of course, create a video with it. So if you haven't checked out the Sri Lanka video yet, click it here or here, I don't know yet, can't figure out this whole YouTube thing just yet, just still figuring it out. But until then, see you in the next one. Thanks for making it this far, and yeah, have a good weekend, good week, wherever you are in the world. Ka kite.